Hey, so when we think of the fact that we are sinful by nature, a lot of us might think, isn't that damaging to self esteem? Come on, for a doctor, what would you tell them? Would you lie to them and say everything was okay when it's not? Or would you be honest with them so that they would know how to handle it? I mean, if you tell them the truth, then maybe they can have surgery and be cured. And knowing that we've all been diagnosed with sin, if it is true, then the worst thing we can do is tell people otherwise. I always like to say that in order to solve a problem, first we have to be able to identify it. We can't just push it under the rug. And here's the beautiful thing here. So, when someone is diagnosed with cancer, they might be able to be cured. We don't know for sure, but there's always a chance. With the gospel, however, with sin, there is a definite cure. When Jesus is the cure, you'll be you'll be healed for sure. Because he is the surgeon that identifies our problem of sin. He is the surgeon that cleans the sin out of us by turning us towards himself. And on top of that, he is the surgery. By dying on the cross, he was the one that bridged the gap between us as sinners and a holy and righteous God. But first we have to identify the problem before we can find the solution. And on top of that, we don't have to because he found it for us. And one thing I'd like to add, and I know I'm guilty of neglecting this, but when we do this, when we talk to people about the problem, we need to do it in a loving, gentle, and patient way. I mean, we can't just beat them over the head or do what one of my former professors calls Bible thumping. I mean, yeah, we should definitely include the word in there, but we can't try to force it down their throats because in a way it's kind of a demonstration of unfaithfulness. Because bringing someone to faith is something that only God can do. He involves us in it, he uses us as catalysts, but it's really him that does the work, not us. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to someone about God and I've gone too far and God would say something like, "Brandon, shut up. Just do your part and let me do mine." And a lot of those times I didn't listen, and now he's conditioning more to actually take those steps of faith. I'm a seed planter. I'm not the one that actually grows them. And at the same time, as I just said, I need to do it with love. I can't we can't be condescending. I mean, in a way that really shows fear when we act in that condescending kind of manner. We're just focused on being right rather than focusing on our love for God. If you're focused on being right, then in a way you're showing your own unfaithfulness. I mean, if you really are faithful, you know that it's true. And as Jesus said to the church in Ephesus in Revelation 2, they had sound doctrine, but if they didn't return to that love they once had for him that they abandoned, then he would shut down their church. So, I mean, we could talk sound doctrine all we like, but without the love for Jesus there, then it means nothing. And as Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, if we don't love our neighbors when we talk to them, if our speech isn't gracious and seasoned with salt, then we're just a banging gong, just making noise. It's not going to do anything. On the contrary, it might actually have negative effects. I mean, look at Westboro Baptist Church. I mean, I mean, while they are right in pointing out that sin is sin, their promotion of hatred just doesn't match up with the Gospels and pushes people further away. Just something for everybody to think about.